Five Broken Cameras is a self-shot documentary by Palestinian journalist Imad Bernat, following his life through non-violent resistance in his hometown of Be'in in the West Bank. Starting in 2005, the documentary chronicles his life, his family, and the 5 cameras destroyed by the IDF during peaceful protests. The documentary begins with the birth of Bernat's 4th child, Gabriel. Inherently, as we watch this documentary unfold, we see what life is like for a child to be born in and raised by occupation and resistance. This documentary can be found online both on YouTube and on the BFI player. I've provided links to both below. I've also linked ways in which you can give your support to the children of Palestine. This short video will be looking at 2 scenes in the documentary that I found particularly powerful, both of which focus on Gabriel's perspective. Cinema has a unique ability to allow us to embody the perspective of others, putting us literally in the world of other people, seeing and hearing their realities. Adopting the perspective of a child is sometimes utilised when exploring topics of pain, grief, or suffering. By adopting a child's viewpoint, filmmakers can explore themes of innocence, allowing audiences to re-experience the world from a fundamentally different perspective. When this viewpoint is positioned within a horrible reality, for example a war zone, it allows viewers to see the world through the eyes of the young, offering a fresh and often poignant view of reality that challenges adult preconceptions. In fiction, this technique of showing war from the point of view of children is frequently used. Kenneth Branagh's Belfast shows a childhood cut short due to occupation. Isao Takahata's Grave of the Fireflies shows children dealing with unimaginable suffering. And Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit highlights the horrible absurdity of the very concept of a child's perspective on war. The cinematic technique is effective as it forces the juxtaposition of the inherent innocence of childhood with the horrific reality of war. The first of the 2 scenes I want to talk about was an 8-second clip of Gabriel playing. To give context to this clip, Bernat and his family live in Be'in, a small farming village 12 kilometres from Ramallah. Be'in sat in the centre of the Green Line, the declared border of Israel established in 1949. In 2004, Israel built the West Bank barrier through the middle of Be'in, segregating the town from 60% of its farmland. In 2004, the International Court of Justice stated that the building of this West Bank barrier was contrary to international law. Starting in 2005, the year that Gabriel was born, the town organised weekly peaceful protests at the border. It was here that Bernat would film much of this documentary. He filmed peaceful protests where villagers would carry signs, sing and play music. They'd be met by gun-carrying IDF soldiers who would fire rubber bullets and tear gas until the protest dismantled. Then, the next week, the protests would begin again. In 2007, the people of Be'in celebrate as the Israeli court vote to move a section of the fence, allowing access to farmlands. In retaliation to this moment of victory, the occupying force decides to burn the olive trees in the succeeded land.
الزيتون يعني الزيتون شو ذنبه؟ الشجرة اللي بتسبح لربها شو ذنبها؟ يولعوها جبل من جواها.
It is here that we see the first clip that I wish to talk about. A year after the court's ruling, Bernat takes his family to their farmlands to work on the trees. The now 3-year-old Gabriel follows. Gabriel's older brothers are playing football and he tries to join in. They get annoyed at him for interrupting the game, and so Gabriel goes off to play by himself. It is a moment of everyday childhood that I, as a younger sibling, found instantly recognisable. Mirroring his older brothers, he attempts to play football. He plays by kicking cartridges of tear gas left strewn across the landscape of the border. We are forced to see how embedded the occupation and violence are in such a young person, as the presence of tear gas cartridges is seen as normal. And we, by viewing this moment of Gabriel's perspective, are forced to see the juxtaposition of his innocence and youth with the remnants of extreme violence that surround his everyday and childhood. The second clip in which we see this horrible mismatch of childhood innocence corrupted by occupation is when Gabriel is helping his father fix their family car. There is a man in the village named Phil. He's popular with the town kids as he is playful and kind.
أعتقد إنه الأولاد بيحبوه كثير لأنهم بيشوفوا فيه أمل وسعادة كبيرة اللي من الصعب نلاقيهم عند الكبار. أنا بتطلع على الفيل وهو بيحضر فوتبول مع الأولاد في البيت خلف الجدار، دائما متمسك بأحلامه إنه يصلح العالم. أنا بتطلع على الفيل وجبريل، في إشي بربطهم ببعض، إشي أقوى من إني أقدر أشرحه.
He became involved in the peaceful protests, bringing a much-needed sense of optimism and joy, especially when the protests faced their most violent and pessimistic moments.
فيل هو الوحيد اللي لسه متفائل، لكن في الحقيقة هو شخص لطيف، بعطيك إحساس إنه الأشياء راح تمشي تمام.
Phil is a friend to Gabriel. Not long before Gabriel's 5th birthday, Phil is shot and killed during a protest at the border by an IDF soldier. The clip of him with his father fixing the car comes shortly after Phil's funeral. A moment of childhood security, education and bonding with a father is twisted by the world in which he grew up in. I will play this second clip in full without cuts or edits.
يابا طب ابعت الجيش بالموس ابعتهم.
يابا بحبسوني، يابا بطخوني.
هو بظل الجيش
ولا بظل الجيش؟ قديش ليش بدهم معطهم؟
عشان طخوا فيلي. ليش طخوا الفيل؟ شو خص الفيل في الجيش؟ شو خصه؟ يابا
كل واحد بيخسر طفولته في مرحلة معينة.
Imad Burnett stating that everyone loses their childhood when referring to his 4-year-old son is a scene which is almost impossible to watch. There's very little more I could say about this documentary that it doesn't say for itself, so I once again encourage everybody to watch it. Framing the documentary around the first years of his son's life amplifies the injustice and brutality of what we see on screen. When viewed through Gabriel's perspective, we are forced to feel the pain of having childhood innocence corrupted by a life under occupation.
Every day, hell rains on Gaza, the teacher and the doctor, the mother and the father, 10,000 child martyrs, pray no more inshallah. Yeah, the silence on apartheid while they condemn the intifada. Walk a mile in Gaza, walk a mile in Ramallah, walk a mile in Nazareth.
Thank you again for watching, and once again please do feel encouraged to follow the links below to give your support to the children of Palestine.